While I do not happen to be a Toronto Raptors fan per se, I do enjoy watching their brand of basketball. Now, last season was a little bit abysmal overall by, I think, analysts of the league, people that are just NBA watchers to begin with, and more particularly, Raptors fans themselves. You saw a lot of a situation where it was just the young guys not learning, a lot of people not getting their minutes in the rotation, a lot of heavy reliance on isometric basketball, and because of that, you saw a lack of a lot of growth that really should have been there across the board. You ended up seeing Fred VanVleet put up enough numbers to earn him $100+ million contract, despite not shooting the best from the field, and honestly, playing iso ball actually hurt his percentages to a certain extent, I would argue. I know a lot of people wouldn't necessarily agree with that, but that's just how I saw it. With that in mind, I believe that Scottie Barnes, under their new head coach Darko, is likely going to take the biggest step forward, or in theory should take the biggest step forward. Now, I say that Scottie Barnes should take the biggest step forward simply off the strength of the fact that he has had the most opportunity and the most time to go out of his way and make things happen. Overall, last season was a little bit abysmal for him. His numbers didn't really jump off the page. He did end up having a few more assists. He went from averaging 3.5 his rookie year up to already 4.8 in his sophomore season. He still averaged the same 15.3 points that he averaged the year before, 0.7 blocks his rookie year up to 0.8, still 1.1 steals a game. His turnovers slightly increased from 1.8 to 2.0. He played slightly more games. Obviously, he's been healthy for both years, 74 games his first year, 77 games his second year. And the thing that concerned me the most was more so his percentages dropping. Now, at face value, it doesn't seem like much change because obviously he still ended up averaging the same amount of points. But if your percentages dropped and you averaged the same amount of points, that means you shot more shots in order to get those points. And even though it was only half a shot more, basically, he ended up shooting 49.2% his rookie season from the field and 30.1% from the three-point line. Sophomore year, it went down to 45.6% from the field and 28.1% from beyond the arc, which I get it isn't the most drastic change, but in my eyes, it's something that's very important to note, considering that he also went from shooting 10 attempts inside the arc for 2-point range to shooting 10.3 this year, and he went from hitting 54.3% of them last season down to 50.5%. So it's a 4% decrease effectively. Overall, that's not going to necessarily guarantee that he's just a worse overall player than he was before, but it is something that's important to note. Now, the brand of basketball they ran also wasn't the most successful, which also contributes to this to a certain extent. But when you consider the simple fact of the matter being him not taking that second step, and now you could say there was a sophomore slump, there wasn't enough spacing around him, he hasn't developed his three-point ball yet. Fair enough. But it also is his responsibility as the eventual likely number one star if this team is to get to the next level and they don't decide to blow it up, that has to lead this team. Now we know what we're getting out of Pascal Siakam, but he started playing ball late and he still ended up being a great player. He's now considered to be a perennial all-star in a way, but Scottie Barnes hasn't quite reached that level. Now people expect him to be having the same manageable tools as a LeBron James archetype. Now, admittedly, I don't expect him to be LeBron James. I don't even think Raptors fans expect him to become LeBron James. But simple fact of the matter is, he has a similar bag to what Ben Simmons could potentially have and what Ben Simmons showcased previous to him losing his confidence. Now, his rookie and sophomore season, he only hit 0.8 threes a game and ended up shooting 2.6 a game his rookie year and 2.9 his sophomore season. I'm not going to sit there and say that I want it to jump to 5 threes a game because he's not hitting enough, but I would like to see some shooting improvement from him, even if it makes him a long two taker, which I know that, it's a bad shot, we shouldn't take those. I would feel comfortable with him just having something that makes his game more than one-dimensional. If you know he can only score within 5-10 feet of the basket, you're only going to be concerned with guarding him within 5-10 feet of the basket. Anything outside of that, and it's a sag-off thing, it's a help in the paint thing, it's a help on drives thing, it's a slide over so you can get an easy contest on an actual shooter. And I feel like the biggest next step to his game that he needs to add is that jumper. We know he can pass the ball. He can even take it a next step. I could see him this season, if he really wanted to, average 6 assists a game. I think he is capable of averaging, 7 rebounds, 8 rebounds. Really, he could average 20 points. But that all is also going to rely on his ability to shoot the 3 ball. He doesn't have to, shoot Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson type 40%. I'm not expecting that from him. But even if he can get up to 34%, 35%, that's a healthy enough range to where if he shoots 5 threes a game, you can live and die with the outcome and know that he's not hurting your team by taking those shots. But if you're shooting less than 30% and you're shooting 3 threes a game, that means less than one of those is going in every game, which means there's more games where you're going to go 0 for 3 than 2 for 3, and we can't really live with those, especially if you're going to be playing significant minutes for your team. I personally don't believe that he's a bad player, of course not, but I think that he's capable of doing so much more, and his game will be truly unlocked once he manages to pull out that 3 ball. Again, I don't need him to shoot terrific. I don't think anybody expects him to shoot terrific. But I think with another full off season of preparation under a new coaching regime and with the expectation that they want to win, regardless of, not getting Damian Lillard, having the ability to let Fred VanVleet go and still pick up a FIBA champion and MVP in Dennis Schroeder, who's looking to showcase why he's worth the money that they're going to be paying him, I believe that this team has the potential to be a playoff team, and I would expect them to, at the very least, battle to be a second round team. I don't know if they'll make it beyond that, and honestly, you could see them get knocked out in the first round, but I wouldn't expect them to get rolled over. The difference between this team right here being just okay and just being the kind of team that wins a few games or wins almost 40 games and the team that wins, 45-ish, 47-ish games is the play of Scottie Barnes. Because again, Siakam, we know what we're getting from him. The other guys on the bench, we know what we're getting from them. Scottie Barnes, we know what we are getting from him, but what we could be getting from him is what's going to make the difference. Admittedly, I would like to say that he ends up shooting around at least 33% from the field. If he can shoot 33%, he'll be more viable, and at the very least, he'll hit enough threes to warrant some level of a contest, which could open up the driving lanes, prevent people from being in a situation where the defender is splitting the distance between him on the possibility of a backdoor cut and an actual shooter on the wing or in the corner, whatever the case may be. And it just bodes well for the offense as a whole that was, devoid of true motion and really a consistent energy last year. With that being said, you guys let me know what you guys think in the comments below. As always, it's your boy Wraith Hoops. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. And as always, good morning, good evening, good night, no matter where you are on the globe watching. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.